Yes. Nancy comes back. Nancy, are you simple friends? I didn't see her later. There you go. Okay, we're gonna call the next guy back. Nancy, are you simple friends? I didn't see her later. Is someone listening in?
It was the YouTube was still unmuted.
You're good.
Okay, we're gonna call the meeting to order. And the first thing we're gonna do is to do the minutes. Did everybody read the minutes? I didn't have the present to see if I should rise up and no corrections to lose.
I just have one little field correction. It's D Boswell on the fourth page. That's no biggie, but
We're back to what,
it's number
page three?
page three, like the middle,
Well, page three.
no, page four, I know.
Four?
No, it's page three, but it's a full page.
Oh, D
Yeah.
Boswell.
Yeah, Boswell, not.
D.
Is it
Yeah,
B as
D.
in- B as in
Yeah,
boy?
yeah,
It's the-
not big.
Okay.
Okay, did you get that? Okay, Keely?
I
There's a
already got it.
correction on the minutes. Or,
Did you get it?
I already got
page
it.
three, Boswell, you got it written down?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, do I hear a motion to?
I'll make a motion.
Motion is correct, as
As
is corrected, yeah. So I can motion on the floor to approve this second. All those in favor, raise your hands. And now we're gonna go into, the, demo. This is tons of paper.
Listen, I've been working really hard to try to work on our data and get as much information as I can.
Let's do something really fast, okay? Okay, let's label what you're going through right now, because I don't know
Yeah, so,
which pages are they. Hold on, it's yours.
yes, so the first one we're gonna go over is, this is our regular dog bite,
This one has
and
been
the tax
taxed.
report. And then this is the modified version of it here.
Yeah, two.
Yeah, we're gonna do all.
Yes, okay,
So this is the original for the business,
okay, this is gonna be out of eight.
and this is the modified.
Okay. Well, that was great. Four.
And these are like only annual graphs, because it's gonna compare year to year. If you got on these line graphs that you have, the ones that have month, if you want me to provide those every month to show where we're at in comparison to the month with the previous 5 years, we can also.
Now, all right. I got two of those, am I supposed to?
You should have.
Yeah, three.
Okay,
All different.
oh,
Yeah, Donovan.
I can make a different comments if you. If they all have a different.
there you go, okay.
You have three.
Yeah. And then this here is the last one.
Yeah, and then you should have three bar graphs.
Okay. So,
So you're reading
Now,
that
can
one.
everybody hear her? Because we had that
Yes.
text. Can everybody hear?
okay, I have an extra of these. Is anybody sure?
I don't have any.
Sorry.
Here.
Emily, thank you. We marked and you listened. Thank you.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, let's go over dog bites and attack reports first. So, this is the old report, I'm not gonna go through it for you in detail. I'm gonna go over the new one, and because I've added some information, the only thing that's not reported in this new one is having pit bulls pulled out separately. I reviewed their data and they're not a significant issue when it comes to attacks or bites. I'm still gonna have the data, so if you guys ever wanna review it, but I feel like on a monthly basis, that's a lot of information. To separate happening type out, and they're not, I don't know if it was an issue a long time ago, maybe, I think they're not predominantly responsible for about attacks.
Seriously? Pit bulls are not the dog.
Well, I mean, you can look at the date, are you still, we have all 2025's data
Good.
here.
That's all I see in rabies, college people.
Well, I think that, I mean, I think our population overall for dogs in the community is higher with pit bulls. I mean, that's definitely what we have more in the shelter of, but it's not necessarily dangerous dog attacks. Like, that doesn't necessarily, there's that breed type doesn't necessarily have more in our community. But we're also not comparing them by individual other breeds. We're only trying, so we compare them to chihuahuas, but in overall, like, they're not, it's not all pit bulls. Okay. So if you guys want it differently though, I can still provide it differently. It just, this feels like people glaze over that, and I'm trying to make it a little, trying to provide information for you guys that you want to track, that we want to be able to make community impact about. And so if there's a difference of what we're looking for, we can do that. So, I'm just gonna stand up, it'll be easier for me to function. So if we look up here, we've got our regular dog bites. And our cat bites. Other bites and exposure, that's gonna be, like bats and raccoons and other things like that. And then we've got total attacks, and then you have total bites and attacks, I'm sorry, the columns down there. And then this is going to show you, this is kind of new information. I wrote out dangerous dog information from our regular stats that you'll see, because I feel like that's a completely different part of our population, and that's a completely different type of service. And this also lets us break down that information better, so we can think about how we can serve our community better in that way, especially since we're seeing it as a. So our overall dangerous dog intake, that's the number of animals that came in with it, category, like that determination type. And then you've got the number of dangerous dogs that were euthanized. Then you also have the number of dangerous dogs, XUP means owner surrender, with no determination. So a lot of talk, go ahead.
Is that included in this figure, or is that additional to this figure?
The DDUs includes dogs that would have been in that one.
So of the 254 dogs used, 114 were XUP determinations.
Right.
Okay.
But these were no determination, which
Well, not determined yet because they don't know why them to be put down.
because, yeah, so typically it's like, say, your dog bites your child. And you brought it to the shelter to be euthanized, that's gonna be in this category, because he didn't determine that it was dangerous, he was the owner.
That's good to break out.
Yeah. And then the determinations were like completed or over there on the left-hand side. So that means that an incident happened and we determined that the dog was dangerous or potentially dangerous on one of the levels. That was just the total number that were determined that month. That doesn't necessarily mean that the outcome was the euthanization or, I'm sorry, I said that, or that it was, returned, taken back to its owner, whatever. Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, so I'm trying to do math, not doing great.
It's okay. It's
Um,
been a lot for me.
but the DD intake. It's 395, I cannot match that up with any of these,
And they don't, because they all kind of different. So, a DD determination doesn't always mean that we actually brought the dog into the shelter. So this one is not always gonna be. Dangerous dog euthanasias are going to be within this category. But in the DD XUPs are also going to be in this category. Does that make sense?
so if I added those two numbers. Then the difference between those two numbers and that would be the number of dangerous dogs that are there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
See,
Is there any way that are some of the DD intakes turned out to not be?
Yes.
Yeah,
So
that's
could that
why-
be the
see, that's-
difference? Okay,
I have to think that.
But
You're right, little pirate
Even
unit.
if it's next to mine, I'd just like to know.
Yeah, I can do that.
What that difference. I think.
Okay, and then down below, you see that on your other report as well. It's just reported dog bite and then tax by district.
Same number of dogs, if you're just dividing them into districts.
District 5 citizen.
Oh. Well, it's still.
Well, just
on
like
the
I just
report,
wanted
so
to-
they don't have
They don't
any-
have, okay.
They don't have a standard, they don't first.
Well, she didn't put anyone on the board, so we'll show her, we won't even quit this week. No, that's six, that's
That's
like two, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Katie Johnson.
No,
Yeah.
your district, no, you're the mayor. You're the district five, you're not, you need to talk to him.
Okay, any more questions on that?
Okay, thank you.
And this was new data that I was trying to work with our company, our software company to be able to extract. We have to be able to extract before. So I also used, that's, I just on the report yesterday, so it could be that. it could be. But I'll let you know. Okay, on,
But can I just provide this feedback from me, is that I feel like I prefer this to the whole thing.
Me too, I'm so here to raise. I was really broken down.
Yeah. And so much less expensive.
yes.
Many less research.
Okay.
Okay. And like I said, if after you guys have some more time to review, we come back next month if there's information like that. Okay, so again, we've got this packet of information, which was the old reports. Try to condense that information on here, but still make sure that there was nothing important next week. And so I know you guys probably remember, but every time we get to a page, there's not really good labels on the top that help us differentiate what is the information we're looking at. And there's a lot of repeated things on each page. And I know that they were trying to communicate something that I know that I think it's getting slim. There's also a lot, there were adjusted euthanasia rates on here, and so just taking that out, because I don't really want to. I want to try to make that euthanasia rate and the reasons for euthanasia as clear as possible and not muddy the waters with that. So instead I just put that on here as one, and we can, I think it's important for us to continue conversations about the different types of euthanasia. Because that's how we impact and save more lives, is by figuring out where those different types are, right? And so I just don't want to do anything that money's that. So let me know if there's any confusion. So essentially in blue, you're gonna have cat. Both on, at the top, you've got intake, return to owner, euthanasia, and euthanasia percent. And then in the next box, below the blue, you have it's just the euthanasia types broken out by type. And then the same thing for dog. Except the difference is that dog intakes and dog euthanasia types. For dangerous dogs, dangerous dog sheep.
Okay, now does this include the KDA euthanasias? Okay, so now you've got a true percentage of the total number of animals put down, okay, and did you break that down to separate from DD and?
Yes, so BD is all here alone, everything else is
Okay,
okay.
then.
And would you remind me what resources refers to?
That means that, the animals we would consider adoptable without any issue, medical or behavioral issues. And it was just a matter of space. So one of our adoption partners was able to transfer it over and their child space or out of time portion. And then other intake is, I don't think we have to break all those down because it's mostly things like animals and stuff, but with rabbits and gerbils. But I just thought it would be good for you guys to understand the total of them, because it does impact staff and time and shelter space and stuff.
But they're not listed in, they're not incorporated into the youth rate. That's
Just because I think that we consider cats and dogs as pets, and so the wildlife and stuff that is in our other category of roosters don't necessarily qualify.
I like the new reports. The only thing I would suggest that is if all of a sudden you see an increase in one area that's not broken out. Then you can report that and that's.
I mean,
I think most of it.
everything that's here is here. It's still all in the same reports. The only thing that I believe is different, and please tell me if I'm mistaken, is breaking out the pit bulls and then I combined dog attacks and dog bites and link here. Oh no, I still got attacks. So I think it's all there. It's just formatted.
Is there space? You add the dangerous dogs back to this.
I mean, there is.
I mean, I don't
I
want
was
it to
just
go on 2 pages.
Uh,
I would not want it to go on 2 pages, but it is more difficult to make comparisons. if you don't have everything in one, so.
And I agree
But
with that.
that,
Well, but I think dangerous dogs is a total separate.
well, it affects the youth, right?
Well,
And it's not here.
that's, well, the thing about, which we can probably discuss in the board and the community and markets. Most animal control organizations would not count dangerous dog intake or outcomes as you. It's live outcomes and non-live outcomes, which is a comparison, but most of those are dangerous dogs, because those do not have a live outcome, except for if that owner chooses to come in compliance with. Because of the dangerous dog. Does that make sense? And so all of the animals that are euthanized are either because the attack was so egregious that the animal could not be released back into the public, or the owner chose to ownership. So I'm fine with it there. It's not calculated in the regular use percentage here, because I'm trying to explain that those are different things. But if you guys want that information to be, yeah, totally.
The only thing that I would say on dangerous is I'd like to see a breakdown on PD level 1, level 2. Okay. Because level 3, there's no choice, it has to be.
Now, when you,
And then I'd like to know how many go back to the owners, how many of these dogs do get to go back to their owners?
The dangerous.
Dangerous dogs, yeah.
Right,
If they meet, and then except for 3 can't, but 1, 2 and PD, they can if they meet. And it'd be interesting to see how many, people are getting that done so they can get their dogs back.
I can tell you overall last year, I was just looking at the information, I think it was like 52. Pardon, it's like 52.
What back?
But like I said, that I just got that data point to get like it extracted it, so I didn't know you gave your application.
Yeah, but I'd like to have the levels.
I'll see if I can
Just get that figure, that'd be great.
I think these are great, thank you.
Yeah, this is much easier.
Any other comments on the window?
It's good.
Oh, goodness. You're gonna give me a headache.
Listen, trying to figure out, one last,
You guys,
of this
no, I'm just kidding you.
was, I am open to any other ground.
Okay, you got, okay, I see you got all these years, okay.
Okay, so let's go, what do you guys have on top?
Cats.
I have cats on top.
And so we don't have to do it, this was just so that, because you guys asked for compare the data. If you want this on a month or on a monthly basis, let me know. But that's just gonna give you, that 5-year comparison of where our cat intakes were. So that, that's important information for me and my shelter rescue partners to know. So if it brings eyes to you.
I have an issue with the 2 greens. For 23 and 26.
Oh, okay.
26.
I can make it
I don't see them.
Oh, that's me, 26.
And also, I'll make it a different color.
Make it a different color, make it a different color. Oh my goodness.
And I can adjust these, I just.
Okay. I think I have $2 too.
There are two, there's two, they look too much like, why are $2 an impact? Just about them. I know them. So you think about that. Okay, you heard. So you got 26, I get it all.
I have.
When I looked at the 2 colors, I thought, oh, I looked at 3 colors that are on the top.
Okay, so then dog intake by month, same things for cat intake, again, just month by month. What was the intake of the last Friday?
Well, 23 was a tough year. Yeah. And this is good, just to look at it, 23 was a pretty tough year, 25. Just this last year was actually lower, if I know that was 22, see, yeah, because
It's hard to see.
Yeah, we need to.
Really good.
25 was. Somewhat comparable. I think that,
Do you think 2021 was low because of during COVID? It just didn't keep it.
2021 intakes were low, if I remember right, up from the high school, but
2020, you guys are doing this.
Well, that's what I'm saying, like, and
This is 2021, although the cat, I mean, cat.
That's 21 next.
I know, I mean,
I don't have to.
And dog bite.
All right, so then we're gonna go, this is, just because we were talking about the increase in dog bites and attacks. I put that one out on a month by month as well. This is just dog bites and attacks, I didn't drag out, that's another increase. So you guys can see. What we're looking at. When this.
Well, I think the visual is much better than the numerical.
Mhm.
Guys, I mean, yeah. Visual, it's good.
All right, let's go on to the bar graphs. So this is dog bites and attacks, 5-year comparison, but not broken out by year.
but this is,
The difference is, this is, let's just see monthly data, was this one's just all. And then the same information, a whole year for dog intake, the cat intake, just not both. But it just helps when we think about,
dog rights are part of that. Dog rights are the.
I think that the visuals are better on these, some degree. And that this is important because it's interesting to see what months are high, what months are low. And we must have the garden, a lot of those.
I think we still need the other data, but this, I mean, those are some.
right, so the bar graphs will just do once a year, right?
Yeah.
If you want any of this kind of data monthly so that you can see where it's at, that's what I'll need to know from you guys, either this time or next time. And then we can go from there. Depending on the changes that you recommend. Email me if there's anything else. Other than that, I don't have a lot of information, or I can do two announcements, the first one is that they are putting in the process or application or the paperwork, I forgot what it was called, for us to get 2 additional animal control officers over our other ones. So that is in process, not exactly sure what all that means.
That be for field officers, is that what you're saying?
Well, all of our animal control officers were both in the shelter, like they're required to work in the shelter or in the field. And so these are 2 to be used as whatever I'm talking about, those people.
But not as kennel tech.
Not as a full animal control, which is very helpful for us, as we know.
And did you get any additional kennel techs add on with that? No, they turned you down.
Well, they didn't, this wasn't a request necessarily. Dan just let me know that this part is the process. It's outside of whatever the regular budget process is. So none of my other requests for additional staffing have been seen by whoever. Sorry, I'm speaking very quickly. Fully educated on. But
That's
for now, too, that's great.
I'm hoping that will be this year.
Yes, I don't really know what in process means or how long the processes take. We do have a couple positions open now, those were listing positions that we are, so this will increase our staff, to maybe.
That's good. So how many, what is your opens? How many positions are open? So
I believe I have 2 open positions.
are those with that? Are those with the regular animal control?
Animal control, we are still have,
Is the kennel tech working out well?
yes,
Time.
yeah, they're, I mean, I think the people we have are great. I think they're doing a great job, they're continuing to expand their knowledge, being able to do more things with the animals, and it really helps with the new policies and procedures we have put in place around doing. And I've kind of charged them with being in charge of the shelter and ensuring, like letting the animal control officers have a lot on their plate, trying to get to a desk and field and a lot of things. And so the kennel techs really own the shelter space and direct the animal control staff on what needs done and make sure that nothing gets, no hallway goes unlocked or anything doesn't. Good.
Is there still maintenance and repair work being done on the runs, or is that finished?
That is finished. That's where the whole operational capacity.
Emily, so we had 22 animal service officers. And Drew and Ron, so that's 24 if you count those. And now we're gonna have 2 additional, so 22 to 24, correct, on the,
That's correct.
okay.
I think I was confusing the 2 of our animal control officers serve on more administrative type things. One of them does dispatch for us, and then the other one does dangerous stuff, paperwork and things like that.
But they're still included in that.
They are, yeah, they're included.
Okay.
I think
You
How-
find,
What's the average number of animal control officers on the streets?
Well, that depends on how, if we're fully staffed. What if we're in a month that has holidays and if, or people are very sick. So if you were to account it, because if you take our staffing and you split it out, you don't account for those things, we could have like 3 or 4 animal control officers on average on the street. But because of the vacation and holidays people are allowed to take, and because of sick time and those types of things, we have about an average of 2. So we're really hoping to increase that. There's a lot of other management things that we're working on. I think that will make a big difference in that in the coming, might still take us a few months, but. Well, and it takes about 6 months for an animal control to complete their training, so. Getting all the new people hired, getting them fully trained, making sure they all work out, that could take some time, but we're already seeing a significant difference in our staffing. Oh, that's just a flyer I made, that, I think the PIO that published soon, it's just like your review thing, for our stats.
Oh, so you got the number of calls here. And we didn't have, one thing that's missing is the percentage.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was going to talk about. So, I did some digging since our last conversation, so you guys know it's how much it was. Our field response rates, so the number is not accurate. And a lot of, it's not that false information is being entered, this is the CAN report from the software. That just generates this information, based off of different, like that, right? But the information that the way that software can be used in many, many different ways, especially in what we call like the dispatch portion. So I don't know that it was initially set up as best as it could be for dispatch and how, what we call our activities. So if you call to make a complaint about something or new service, that goes in, gets entered into our dispatch queue. Depending upon what kind of call it is, it should generate an activity number. How that information then gets closed out, when it gets closed, is what generates this report. But it can't, the way in which we're using it, the closeout type doesn't necessarily mean, like, say you called about your barking dog. If you attempted to make several attempts to reach this person about their barking dog, we might have not been able to make attempts, we need to move on to another higher priority calls, so we're going to close out. So that field response rate is going to show that it's completed. But that's not, I think, what the public's looking for, right? And so, I'm gonna be getting our audit on our dispatch and activity and how we utilize the software. I'll be working with our software company and some other agencies that utilize this and auditing the whole system for beginning it in February. It's gonna take a couple months, but the information I'm hoping we'll be able to start providing, not only be able to respond to calls better track what our needs in the community are, but also know, what our response time rates are.
So I want to clarify.
Yeah.
That if George called in for barking dog, and then you couldn't handle it that day, you had to shut that down, she just closed it out as being done.
Not necessarily, and so that's the thing too, is that there's a lot of difference in if it could or couldn't be closed out. So
So we went 3 times to find the dog, and couldn't, or find the owner,
right,
and then somebody else called it and it's a priority call, you're gonna close that out and move on. Is that what you're saying?
Essentially,
Okay.
that in most of the times, like they made the attempt to address it, but then closed it out. But if they report the dog complaints, that's a priority 5, I think, which is gonna be the lowest. If you remember back to the other data, we get thousands of calls that are gonna be priority 1 and 2, or then we have the officers to address. So all these other lower priority calls will just end up sitting in our queue, so that's why I have 900 plus open calls in our queue. Which is not conducive to being able, for the staff to be able to log into the queue and prioritize how we can do. The software has a lot of different options that may create that more efficiency for us, such as if an officer, if you don't have any high priority calls, we can go and work a bunch of calls that are in a specific need. That's when you increase our productivity because they're not driving all across town working different ones. Does that make sense? So there's a lot to be done about that. It's just, and the thing is somebody can open a call, there's a lot of variables. You can open a call, close that call, reopen it and then look as a different call so that somebody else can work with it then at a different time. And there's no real rhyme or reason what's happened with the leaders and the different things and who's been trained on which way, does that make sense when you're doing along? Variety of employees that do that, or that are, hired along the ways. Oh, I've lost track of where I'm looking next one. But the point being is that we're gonna get this cleared up. And we're gonna start providing data that makes sense.
Emily, should there be a third column successfully resolved? No, really, I'm serious.
That is an important thing.
No,
Yeah.
I get that we just don't have, there's no way to collect that information.
Cause that would be in probably the 50s or.
I
Yeah,
don't wanna speculate.
yeah, but that would be nice, because if it is a successfully resolved. Then saying you had a response rate of 94%. It's arbitrary.
But that's what I'm saying, so this is not helpful.
Yeah. I agree.
But there's so many variables, that report would be,
It's, well, that's what's.
because there's so many different
And for
actions.
example, George, if you and 5 of your neighbors calling for the same thing, they're gonna close out 4 of them and work with 1. And so then that's gonna change it, right? But there's so many.
Can you do this by address? And so you just look at, okay, so you have 5 people calling the same thing, okay? And you went out and you took care of it, then you would have taken care of all those 5 things, but I'm so, just like on cruelties, it's not by the number that came in, it's the address and by time. I know you got that in history because I've looked at that. You had over this year, it's a,
Yeah, like 8 different calls
A
and
lot.
one address or,
yeah, and if there's that many calls and
but that's not really the way that dispatch queue works. And it could be that several people within the shelter are receiving calls about the same thing at the same time. And so the activity is going to report it in that way, but the live action part of the physical dispatch view and within the software doesn't have that. Either way, we're gonna get it figured out.
okay, I mean, I'll talk about it. Okay, all right.
Next final announcement is we're beginning the first Monday in February, we're gonna do microchip Mondays for the whole month of February. So, from 8 AM to 10 AM, we'll be giving away 3 microchips. And that means, and stamping them for, Wichita city residents. I'll send out a press release and Facebook stuff and all that kind of thing here in the next couple of days. We're just going to do, this is new for us as an organization and Elizabeth's going to be and 10. So we'll do 50 every Monday for the whole month of February. It'll be first come, first served. The details about, how to get in line and making sure your cats are on in carriers and your dogs are on leashes. All of that's really important. And hopefully we will use this as a good opportunity to be able to encourage the public to get microchip their pets. That's gonna be our big goal for us this year, is getting people microchipped. And returning animals to their owners in the field before they come to the shelter. We're also our new public microchip scanner will be installed that Monday that we start those. And so we'll have a microchip scanner that will be on the side of our building with signage on how to use This should be available 24/7, so if people want to find a pet and they want to scan it,
Good.
Are you registering the chips for the owners?
yes. Absolutely.
Everybody.
You don't want any unregistered in our city, that is the beginning of our existence.
The same chip company that the Humane Society uses,
I don't remember what they use.
24 pet.
Hey, that is the one that pays.
24 pet watch.
We use Pet Life. We use Pet Life.
After
We
one-
moved from Pet Wash. I don't know.
So that'll be 200, correct, 200, and so there won't, there probably won't be any pets that aren't,
No.
yeah, not for you.
But I know there's a couple other recipes that do that.
Yeah.
So,
It's something-
and if it's successful, do you think you might do it in like every 3 months or something?
Sure, I don't, I mean, it's a purchase item, but it's
They use-
all the
Okay.
things, but it's something that I've actually been writing checks for and I'm excited to do. Right, any questions? No, thanks.
That's it. Thank you. Thank you. You did a good job. Okay, now we're gonna go on to the public comment. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people. We have.
I have a motion. I have a motion that some people, we make this later till 5, we start at 5, we start at 4. And there's some people don't get off work till 5, so they may not get here till and Emily usually goes for half an hour. I make a motion that we leave the sheet up there for some people that may have come in late that want to talk. And when Emily's done, we pull the sheet up there then. So if anyone, so I make that motion, so we never get a second.
Is there a
on that.
second to that? There's no second.
I don't know, I think maybe I just need clarification of what we're talking about.
Okay, so
So
we
we
have,
jumped in the middle of something.
okay, we have the sign up sheet that people are supposed to sign in. And it's always been, must be signed in before the start of the meeting.
Mhm.
And what he's saying is that we don't go to public comment until after Emily's report, which we've been now almost 45 minutes. And I noticed there are some individuals that have walked in after that time. But yet before the public comment time, and so he's saying, leave the sheet out there and then I will get it right at the comment time and after Emily said, that was you're saying?
I said,
Now, is there any discussion from the public?
I appreciate that, George.
Good idea.
We all second.
All those, any other discussion from the public? All those in favor, raise your hand. Passes. Good motion, good motion. Yeah, no, that's, and I know that one time we had some people that got hung up by a train, I think. And I have to say that, because I've been late to a meeting before. And so that starts it. Okay, so we have limited it to 25 minutes total time for public comment. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So.
Ellen, because now could I ask you if any of those people that did come in late want to sign up?
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Okay, so we can do about 4 minutes, about 5 minutes each. Yes, we do. So the first person up is Aaron Poole. I know. Okay, you actually printed, I can.
It's big, I print.
Are you, what district are you from?
I have no idea.
Are you from Wichita?
Yeah, I live just right down the road. So
Would
whatever
that be
district.
District 6?
There you go.
Okay.
My first time, where would you like me to?
Yeah, just
speak
come and sit
from?
here.
Okay. Look, a little weird with people in the back, but let's do it anyways. Again, this is my first time, so, please excuse, I know, obviously some prepared thing, and I have some questions along the way, so I don't know if you guys who can answer that. If I'm the way that I would need an answer from.
Go ahead. I had time, you could find
You're fine. So my name is Aaron Poole. I'm obviously very concerned about the animal welfare in the city of Wichita.
We have fostered for some different organizations, not just one, and obviously. We would hope to have our own rescue, and we're working on it currently. So. I want to be pretty open about what I'm saying. I think most of my experiences at the child and shelter have been positive. We always try to go in with as much respect as possible, knowing that most of the people who work there are experiencing major damage. We see it, we hear it, we watch it on social media. Obviously, this is a big problem. That's why we're all here. Here is my concern factually on what we are facing. When you look at the partner behavior clause currently written out in the rescue paperwork, there are some things in there that are extraordinarily unclear. Since this is my first time coming to this meeting, it seems like maybe we're having some clarity issues with the problem. It is impossible for us as fosters and rescues to understand what behavior guidelines are without some clarifications. On this, there is also a note in the rescue partnership that states that anything that is put on social media and is deemed inappropriate, that then they can start to take away our ability to pull from the shine mission. And while I understand that there's a lot of rescue partners who have said negative things, again, you've seen it, you've watched it. Right now, currently, there are very few rescues and foster groups who can pull out of Wichita, Kansas. Dogs that are sitting in Wichita, Kansas. And that seems crazy to me. So I would really like if there was a way we could get clarification. What are the behavior standards? Give us true clarity. What deems it inappropriate? Obviously, if we go in and punch somebody, that's a problem, right? But you're not clarifying this in the partnership agreement. And then the fact that it is just a note. And this is a contract that we're signing, right? So this is a note that says you can't say anything on social. What does that look like? Give us clarity. And then what is the appeal mechanism for this? And I just think, you know, in this, it actually says, let me go ahead and look this up so I can read this to you. In there it says. Sorry, I can find my spot on here. I should have actually read this. But you know, there's a note in there that says that negative comments are not helping to get humans. Right? It's not helping with their love. And I think we can all agree. There's no, we're all working towards the same goal. We don't want mean dogs out on the streets fighting kids, but we also don't want dogs that, you know, just need some medical treatment to be cut down for their reasons. Rescuers, foster parents, you know, foster dog parents are all spending their own money, their own time, putting their own resources. And so if we are then asked to sign as a rescue, or asked to sign a contract with vague, very broad statements, we're not getting true definitions. We don't even know who is actually over, who gets to define what I said was inappropriate. And then if you have no way that you're actually offering an appeal process, this seems like a problem. So has this been discussed in this meeting before?
Well, I'm gonna be real honest with you. You need to be talking to the Kansas Humane Society and Dinwiddie first. And so I suggest that you, not now, I suggest that you meet with them afterwards, because we have nothing to do with that contract, okay?
Okay,
So there's two contracts, so, so I'm going to refer you to, contact an inlay after the meeting sometime, and she can discuss that and talk to you about it, okay? Because we have-
okay, and then if,
because most of that contract is through the Kansas Humane Society, we don't have any jurisdiction.
okay, but why is it that Wichita Animal Shelter has the dogs listed? But then
we
that's
need-
not-
we need to talk to Emily about that, okay? So that's something that you need to go and talk to her. And we aren't going to be able to answer that question.
Right,
Now, what
and
we
you have
can,
no control over if it needs to change.
what we can do is bring it up at the next meeting and discuss it on an agenda.
Okay, that'd be great. So how do I do that? Because I think it needs to be an agenda. I will put it on, make sure that it goes on the agenda. Okay, that would be good. Yeah, thank you.
So March 18th then, my birthday, don't bring presents.
Next up is Tony Winger.
Hello. I don't have a lot to say, just a few things.
Oh, that would be great.
I spent a little bit of time today just going over some of the minutes.
Absolutely. I'll send you an email.
Thank you. One thing struck me, from the September meeting. And this was a comment you made, George. You asked about, and said that report shows that 150 cats came in the shelter in August. 120 were euthanized. And what happened to the other 300? And I think that's a really good question. And I went back and I looked at the dogs. And in August of 25, there were 487 coming in, we euthanized 120 returned owner. So there's 325 dogs. Where'd they go? They go, I think it'd be great if the report could include what dogs went to Kansas Humane Society, how many types of different rescues. We don't know where they went. I'm sure you guys know where they went. And a lot of cats. Anyway, that to me seems to be really good comment. The other thing, Emily, your report mentioned adoption partners. Who are they? Who are your adoption partners? Do you list them any place? In case somebody in the community wants to adopt a dog, who do they contact?
Yeah, we're not gonna.
Okay,
Those are questions that we can answer.
The other thing is, good job. Trying to get these additional ACOs, maybe work through the system, and good job on the microchip Mondays. And it looks like you're really trying to get your data going the way it's supposed to. One thing about the daily reports you send out, I noticed that there are quite a, let's see, yesterday there was 3, I think today there were 2 dogs past deadline, but supposed to have been transferred to HS. And a couple of them were like 10, 11 days past their due update. Why are they still at your shelter? Good question. Anyway, thank you.
Okay, Sheena, okay, I'll say Taylor, is it T? Okay, is it TAYLEROR? I believe I'm in Johnson's district. That's district 5, yeah.
My name is Sheena. I am not new to the animal rescue scene, but I am fairly new to the Wichita scene. I've been a transporter here for different organizations for the last 1.5 years. I'm not with anybody. I'm not a volunteer. I'm just independent. But about 4 months ago, I decided to start helping network dogs there at the shelter. So on my own time, I take dogs off of 24-hour Pet Connect and stuff like that, and I start putting them on Facebook. I have a close relationship with the rescue team there at PHS, so I can get information, stuff like that. A couple of the issues that I have come across was the dangerous dogs. You guys just talked about. There's been a couple instances where there were mom and puppies, and it was a little unclear how that. I mean, the mom is going to be extra protective of her puppies. So how does that come into play when they decide deem her a dangerous dog? I believe there was one, she had 9 puppies. She ended up as a level 2 and was, I believe, euthanized, and her puppies were, I'm not really sure, I think the rescue partner took them. But if there was some other protocol, because she is really only trying to protect her babies. You would think. They used to, from what I know, they used to allow rescues to kind of help with the dangerous dog, somewhat issue, like the lower level ones, not necessarily taking them to rescue themselves, but maybe help with the deeming, and now they cut everybody out. So like, we don't get any information. It's Like, okay, did she bite another dog? Did she bite a person? Like, if there's some kind of clarity we can do there. And then, which you guys may not have a lot to do with, but there's been 3 dogs that I know of recently who were tested for heartworm. They tested positive, but once they got out of there, they actually tested negative. But for some reason, and I don't know if you guys have any play with the KDA, I know heartworm, they deem it as a contagious disease. It is not. I don't know how we need to go about trying to fight that. Oklahoma doesn't care. I could go down there and adopt a heartworm positive dog for $60. Oklahoma doesn't have that law, but if they pet test positive here at the shelter, they are put on the euthanasia list basically, and if a rescue, or actually they have to be pulled by a veterinarian. If they're not pulled by a veterinarian, then they can be euthanized. And to me, that's something, because it's not contagious, it's not like kennel cough or ringworm or something like that. And then the other thing is I've kind of come into is the deadline. I understand we have space, the capacity. They talk about how they want to have so much, open kennel space to help with, disease control and things like that. But there was also somewhere I heard that there was a couple of weeks ago, there was 2 perfectly healthy Rottweiler brothers that were euthanized. I believe there was space, but somebody, I don't know exactly who, but there is the longer they're there, the worse they are off. But we're only talking about them being there maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. You're not talking about them being 2 years. So if there was actual space at the shelter, those 2 brothers should not have been euthanized just because they were there for that long. And so that was something, and then also, the pictures. I am not allowed to take pictures at the shelter or videos. One of the ACO officers told me one time it's because they do it. With all due respect to those animal control officers, those pictures, have you guys seen those pictures? Those pictures are not very good. It would be great if they would allow. They also told me I couldn't do it because I wasn't with a rescue. I don't want to be a volunteer for a rescue. I want to be independent. I think I can work better that way. So if there's a way that I could take pictures or videos that way, I could put those on social media and stuff like that, because videos help with rescues a lot, just to be able to see the behavior on that stuff. T and Heather help me a lot. If I ask them to go do a video or dog to dog, they'll do that, but they also have their own work to do. So if like I try to come down to the shelter, I don't see it as a reason why I can't take pictures in there. I'm not trying to take pictures in restricted, but they consider the hallways restricted. So I don't know if that's something that we can try to change with that too, so.
And I'm gonna again tell you that many times when people come to us to talk to us, you need to have come to Emily. And
I understand
explain that. Because of all the things that you said, and Emily, maybe take note of this, and maybe you can put this in your report next time that we have.
Yeah.
A little bit about that, but again, poor Emily, because we can't help anything as far as that goes, and yes, I would like to know what the.
And I do want to have a meeting with her too.
And I think that's what it is. Okay, you don't have any questions from the.
I just want to know what the purpose is.
Okay,
If we're not allowed to
I'm
ask
so
about
sorry.
contracts and stuff, what is the purpose? If you could define that for us.
Yeah, we don't, this is just public comment, okay? This is public comment, okay? She's gonna talk to you. What we're trying to do is not bog the situation down when it's something that we can't deal with. It's what she needs to do. So whenever you have an issue like that, because we've seen that, please talk to Emily before you come and speak at the board. That would be, so leads to the humane side, because some of the stuff that's been brought up, we have no control over. It's controlled by the Kansas Humane Society.
So where do we find the definition of what you guys are in?
We'll talk about it. I'll just wait after.
Okay, yep.
Okay, let's go back. Now then, Conley, you're up next. And you're from Eastboro, right?
Yes.
Okay.
On Louis, and I brought him on this. Can you hand those to me?
Oh, yes, glasses, yeah.
I can't see a thing. So I understand the comments that you made recently about you guys don't have the power, you don't have the control. I get that. But you guys do have the ear of city council. city council does have some of the control and the power over the people who run the Wichita Animal Shelter and the contracts that they sign and who they sign them with and currently is to municipality. So you guys do have.
I'm not saying
it's really
you don't have
important.
power.
It's really important for them to be able to speak and for you to take this stuff in because you can go back to your, or to your, council person and discuss these concerns, and make changes. So it's kind of defeating with the people that are here and have done a great job, so. But I want to address that statement that was made to me, and it was Emily and I were talking first. And, it was specifically about the time. What we're seeing is dogs dying at about 2 weeks, and so that euthanasia rate is happening really, really fast. Shelters not full. I'm looking at the hall capacity, I'm looking at the overall capacity, and it's below that 75% that they want. And they're still euthanizing dogs. I had specifically a dog that, it was a Friday night. There was somebody, we finally gotten a video of it. Because it's hard to get videos with a request. And I had asked about this dog because I was concerned about it. His other dog that came in with him actually had been reevaluated after a video done and moved over to KHS. He was going to be killed that night, so he used good nights that night. The concern is that the hall wasn't, it was probably over 50%. The shelter wasn't at capacity, and they were still gonna euthanize. And I was told it was because it was inhumane to leave them there that weekend. We've been there for 2 weeks. And we're seeing that over and over, they hit that 14-day mark, and it's like they're just needing to go ahead and. We had a rescue that was interested, and the reason was, is we had gotten a video, and we had found out that he was in here that day. The video, I started looking, and that said he was unaltered at intake. KHS's notes on him said he was unaltered. I didn't see what I should have seen on an unaltered dog. And so I asked, and everybody said, oh, I don't know, it says even. So I finally asked, does he have balls? He does not. They went over and checked. So we were also able to tell rescues, this was a neutered dog. We had someone that was interested. I was texting with Emily first and literally begging just to give us a little bit longer. We were able, she did finally say she would give him until the next morning. This is Friday night. They were trying to confirm somebody that would come in and foster and to get a little more information. They can't just say, oh, we had someone volunteer, let's just put that dog there. You can't do that. And so they were doing their due diligence. And, but that time constraint and knowing that dog's gonna die, they don't get it time. The emotional toll that it takes on the rescues, on networkers, it's not right, it's not fair. And it didn't even need to be that. He was a behavioral dog. And I was actually, we got him, he was able to go, he was safe. KHS reached out to me, asked me if I could come help that day when the foster was coming to pick him up. And I went in, yeah, he was there. Got him out of the place and he was so relieved. Like instantly, like 99% of the dogs that walk out of there goes to the bathroom, that was accepting love instantly. And he's joining these. If it's truly inhumane for a dog to remain in this facility beyond 14 days, then the way the facility is operating must be re-examined. And I understand the response is going to be that the shelter was never intended to be a long-term housing. And I agree, but we're not talking about months and years. We're talking about weeks. We're talking about allowing rescue the reasonable chance to save lives. So another dog, his name was Cheech. He was killed in 5 days. The day his family came in to get him. It was over the holidays. He spent 17 days there. 3 days they were closed.
And I've got a call with the company, so.
I understand, I usually get. But that 14-day mark. If there, if
I
it's.
think that we as a board will check into that, okay? And I'm not saying that we are just ignoring it, okay? I'm just saying that at this particular time, she needs to talk to Emily, and that's what we've been instructed to do, is to have Emily look at that. And then Emily, I think in your next report, we need to discuss some of these things, and I think that would give you time to visit with people and maybe explain your ways and have what is, I think that. Yeah, I can do it. Oh, Donna, is it Donna? Yeah, I have Donna. Okay, Donna, there's Donna Garcia, I cannot read your writing.
Yes. Yeah.
Donna Garcia.
Okay, I'm sorry. Are you going to, do you have public comment or are you going to talk on an agenda item? We
Okay,
did,
then-
it's on the shelter. and
We're
it's-
sure. if we need to decide
No,
on that.
okay, I'm sorry, I didn't recognize your
How's
name, but I
that?
told Sarah.
Exactly,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So they're both, yeah,
Thank you.
okay.
New business, we just have, it's actually sort of a rewrite of new, of code here. Concerns of non-stray intakes. And I'm concerned this is a good weekend for us to talk about this, because right now, we're having people that are going to go to shelters that do not have a place for their dogs. And one of the things that I was gonna ask you, Emily, was, when we did this the last time, we plan on doing it this time, when someone goes into a shelter and they have a dog, they'll take care of the dog, okay. Last time we did that, or you did that, there were, like maybe 3 or 4 dogs, but they used up a whole hall, and so the hall was closed down for that number of dogs. And my question was, why did they have to have a whole hall closed down for just 3 dogs?
I'm not sure, I'm not closing on all of them.
You weren't probably there, okay, you were. And my thought is that, I want, the Humane Society is not taking any of these, are they? It's just all coming from you guys, they're not.
I'm not aware if they're doing this, but what we announced is we were just talking about ourselves, our own shelter.
Okay,
Sometimes, the Humane Society and the rescue will do emergency boards, but I'm not sure what either one of their policies are right.
I don't know about that, but I wanted to talk about the fact that we are now taking in owned animals. It's not just animals that are stray, or we're taking in owned animals that sometimes are turned over because they can't keep them, but in this situation. And I guess this follows up with what you're gonna say a little later, is that we're gonna have to probably put them, take the animals in, and I hate to see a whole hall be closed down.
Let me just go out there so I can address it instead of shouting. So we're not gonna be closing a hall down for any of the emergency, weather holds that we're gonna take. So this is a program, that we do literally specifically only if there is extreme weather, and the hot team and PD are working to get housed individuals into like. And, we don't do this program when weather isn't in that case, but most of the research shows that people will not seek emergency shelter and leave their animals. We definitely don't want that either one of them. We're not gonna be closing them in a specific hall. Ideally, if I have space in any of our confiscation halls, that's likely where we will place them. But sometimes those halls can be higher stress just due to why the other animals were confiscated. So we'll just try to manage the population the best we can. Right now, the population is lower, so I don't expect like for this weekend. And we always take it day by day or weekend by weekend of what's happening. We'll work closely with the homeless shelter so that if they are going to be doing some other type of emergency intake, we will hold them for about 3 days or 72 hours. Again, for that emergency. But now say if this extreme weather were to extend past that, we would extend it a little bit longer as best that we can. We're really just trying to save as many lives as we can.
Is there any discussion from the public about that? Questions? I think this is gonna be.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about it.
Okay, thank you.
Old business. Susan, you're up. Can you discuss the bylaws?
Sure. So, being that we are very near the end, of the revisions, of maybe we're at the end of the revisions, but I think maybe Ellen has.
Now, I think that at this point, we're at the, what she's doing and what we did is we approved all this stuff. But we want to make sure that it's correct, okay, so that you approve a clean copy. So, and then that's why I had you guys come read it, and see if you saw anything that was wrong. Oh, it's yours.
No, I want to help some of the people that asked this question. Right here in our bylaws, purpose. The primary purpose of the Animal Services Animal Board is to provide recommendations to the Wichita Police Department Division of Animal Services. 1, to encourage reasonable, responsible pet ownership. 2, to ensure the humane treatment of all animals. 3, to promote public safety through the recommendations of Animal Services ordinance to the city of Wichita, Kansas. B, the Animal Services Advisory Board and its members shall have no authority over city staff or authority to speak on behalf, number 1, to speak on behalf of the Animal Services section, to obligate the Animal Services section, or to carry out activities on behalf of the Animal Services section without appropriate approval. And I will tell you that we can talk to our city councilor, but the mayor might tell you, they can't tell anybody anything. They have to go through the city manager, and then the city manager goes to the police department, and then to Animal Services. So the city council will go to the city manager and ask them to do something. So that's what we do, and that's where we're at.
Yeah, we report to the police department and we give them recommendations and then they make a decision as to whether they will take that recommendations or change it. Okay. So has everyone had a chance? Everyone says pretty much okay.
Yes, that's a motion that we.
You know, this is where I'm in the gray area, guys, because you guys haven't seen these, okay? But we did go over them and people here, we're gonna make a motion. I guess we'll move to, you wanna make a motion?
I'll make a motion
To reapprove these.
that we.
There's a second.
And I would second it, and I'll tell you, I got on this board over 4 years ago. And this is what I wanted to do and tried to do when I first got on the board, and we had so many other fires that it took over 4 years to get it done, so I definitely want to second.
Any discussion from the public? And it's kind of hard because you don't see these, but all this information that you did not see will be, Keely will be on the approved minutes for the, like, last meeting, we're already on the approved minutes and you can see all this data, okay? Is that correct?
Where do we see it?
Is that correct?
I'm so sorry, what was the question?
I said all the data that we're looking at will be on the approved, or I'll be on the minutes so they can find these if they want to look at any of this data. That it is on the,
From November?
yeah, from November, and then it'll be from January after.
No, it'll be,
It
if
may-
we
it may-
approve it today,
Yeah, no,
So
those minutes will be.
the only minutes that'll be available tomorrow will be
it will be
from
this.
from November.
I'm just letting you know that all this stuff that we're going on is recorded and it is available for them to see.
Eventually.
Eventually,
Yeah.
yeah, yes, eventually, yeah.
You didn't say where it was available for us. to
It's
see.
online.
It's
Okay,
under
at
the,
like wichita.com.
Yes.
Okay, thank you,
If you
that's
go to
better.
Wichita.gov and you go to boards and committees and you scroll
Okay.
down to Wichita Animal Services Advisory Board, it's gonna be right there. And then off to the side, you'll have the agenda, you'll have your minutes, you'll have your audio, you'll have your video. And then you'll also have like all of your statistics as well.
Okay, fantastic, thank you.
but you can go tomorrow and you can see the audio, you can see the video and the audio of this meeting. Okay. Susie. Okay. When we have motion second, all those in favor, say aye. Raise your hand. You don't want, I want that fly swatter, George. Oh, you didn't bring it.
And with the recording devices.
Next up is budget with Nancy.
Okay, I guess my first question is, did anybody review or what we went over in November? Questions or comments or suggestions?
I think that what you did was you reviewed
How the
what the, whatever that's.
reviewed what the,
That.
what is recommended and
Yeah.
what rules we have to follow. And it helps now that we've got 2 additional ACOs coming on. But we're looking at what we are recommending is for the 2027 budget.
Well, I have. It's hard. To go over the budget, other than you've got your additional ACOs, which is one of the things that should be on there. The only question that I have on the budget for 2026 is, Captain Purcell has retired.
But that's why we're going to.
Is that why we're getting this? We're using the money that was spent for Purcell's.
Although not all of Purcell's, we had more than one job.
I know, but it was all on the Wichita Animal Shelter, okay? So, I mean, what's gonna be done with the, because he's not gonna be here for 26, and so he's not gonna pay.
Yeah, I hesitate to speak on that because I'm not positive, but it does equal the same, roughly the same amount of money. And it is not in budget cycle, so it may be a reallocation. I just know that I'm getting two anyways, yes.
Okay.
Are you all know she's getting 2 ACOs, but she doesn't know
Okay, don't
if
worry,
it's reallocation.
reallocation, it'd be nice to know about that.
Well, and I actually asked the question and.
I just found out,
Really?
Yeah,
So that's. Okay.
should, I mean,
because I emailed asking that question and I got a response that Emily would.
Oh, dear.
And so, yeah, I wouldn't.
Okay.
So,
yeah, so it may be a reallocation of there, I just hesitate to speak on what our definition would be.
And then on the budget, I'm still interested in getting the numbers of what we're spending on the in-house vet care and also the emergency back there with VESH. I think you only do it with VESH, or you don't do it in other places.
Not very often.
Not very often, okay. And I know that I was going to talk to Jan, but she's been gone and I didn't get into it. Oh, that's not true, because I'm trying to find out where we can have those, because I think that's important to know, the impact, because I think the last time I asked this, it was around, Vesh's bill was around $175,000 for 1 year. And, I need to know where that is in the budget. Tell me.
Well, the thing that I would like to see, and that's what's not published in the budget document, the civic categories like contractuals, professional services. It would be great to get a breakdown on what those are budgeted for, like, I don't know, maybe 100,000 for this, 20,000 for this, 30,000 for that, whatever that is.
I probably,
I don't know how to access that, but I can, the budget analyst can give me that information.
okay.
what I will say is I talked to Assistant City Manager, Dante Martin this morning. And if we're going to make a recommendation, it needs to be done tonight because they will start in a couple of weeks.
That's a huge change from what used to be. And
I'm just telling you what well, you got new people, so. And really we had talked, I mean, I thought we were more functioning about talking about the ACO shortage than we were on the other budget items, which we could always find out and bring it. Meeting. We can still make recommendations. I don't think they finalize it until June, but they will start talking, and it's what I was told.
Why is it in July?
Yeah.
We're in July 4th. I mean, published in August.
I think that's what a council means.
But the process is that the police department is going to make the recommendations on these budgets. So I guess what you.
What we do is we need to make a recommendation to the police department, and I've also been told by at least one councilman, he also wants to know the. Now, on the other hand, we are also supposed to be tell them where it comes from, and it's supposed to come out of this budget. In my conversations with him this morning, I said that if we make a proposal or recommendation, where it comes from, we probably need to do it to be determined and discuss that later after the March 3rd vote, and he agreed. On the, okay, and I don't want to get into a debate about that, it's just that we are gonna, and I told my we're gonna need some guidance, or because we're not budget analysts, and everybody that I've talked to or that has seen this, and they're like, they have asked me, they're like, why is your a volunteer board responsible to tell the city where to come up with the money? It's kind of like, isn't that? And we have a lot of backing on that question, but that's the way it is. And you know, I don't know. I am, and
Have that information as to where it can come out of other areas in the budget.
and it's right. So, you know, because I mean,
One of the things that we could do is, we could have, our next meeting is March. We could have another meeting in February where we ask budget person to come and speak to us. And that's what, and they, because we can't, we can ask them questions, but so that's something that we can think about.
as far as where it would come from. I think tonight we still need to make a recommendation, and I mean, we know we want more ACOs, so I would say that.
Well, we've already got two and, more.
And
Here's the problem I see. Is that you don't have the 2025 actuals in front of you. And that's the thing they look at. They're just now getting those things compiled and guaranteed.
but we still have to give a recommendation.
Which doesn't make any sense to me until we get information as to what the breakdown of the numbers are.
Are you talking about what to recommend, or are you talking about where it would pull from?
No, I'm just talking about, I'm not talking about where you get extra money. You need to, I think what this board needs to do is come up with a list of things that you believe need to be addressed in the budget. You don't know if they're addressed in the budget now because you don't have that breakdown.
We know we need ACOs.
Okay,
I mean,
you got-
that's,
yeah, you
because
got to.
we've been talking for 6 months.
Right, and that,
And that is what I would recommend is because I was thinking, okay, if we ask for 427 and 428, we might get 2.
Or you may say,
Or we
we're
may-
not gonna go with it. Okay, we didn't try to make it so that they go, we can't even afford that.
But if you, but I said if we ask for 4, we might get 2, and I was told that's true. So since we've got 2, I would suggest maybe we try to go 3 for a recommendation.
well, but to do that, Emily's gonna have to come up with some pretty good data as to why those numbers in ACOs are needed.
We've already gone through that.
Really?
We started in September talking about this. And we also have, the K-State report said we were 18 ACOs short.
Okay.
And she has looked at it. And we've had several discussions, and when Captain Purcell was here, we had several discussions.
So
And
that
so,
needs to go to the police department, I'm guessing.
but we have to make the recommendation, and then it will. And it does.
I will tell you though, if you look at this chart, it says we have a 92.1% response rate. They're gonna say, man, you, that's an A, that's
But that's,
about 90%. You guys don't need 2 more, 3 more. So that's why that
The recommendation.
no,
That was based off of different data.
So you've already put together a recommendation, that's why you got 2 extra, officers.
No, I don't think that too, I think that too was more related to Derek's departure than it was to the budget requests that I put in. Does that make sense? So I don't, they have.
so they just. Right. Well, and it should be since we've been talking about the budget for the last 5 months. Because I think the timing is very interesting.
Yeah, it's still done, so we give people more on.
And that's quite possible.
Okay, so, previously, in situations like this, we came up with, an amount that, we didn't have to do it in January, we never had to do it in January. Because they can always change the budget. I mean, the budget, they're gonna present a budget in March. And then there's gonna be some feedback from the public. And then there's gonna be some feedback with the city council members, and that budget's gonna change, the budget's that they get, and it does, this is what we'd like, and all of a sudden. The people say, no, we don't want that, and so someone will say, oh.
So we need a starting point, and that's why we've been asked that if we're gonna make a recommendation, that we do it now.
Well, the recommendation would be to give the animal services as much as help as they think that they need. And if Emily thinks you need 2 or 3 employees, then we should say that we need to have, thank you very much for the 2 tonight. But we would like to have 3 more added on.
In 27.
27, yes.
And I would even throw in the 3 for 28 and at least get them thinking about it.
I got confirmation, the 2 is for, Derek Solomon,
Okay.
but it's in process, I don't want it.
So what is?
I second Nancy's 3 and 3.
Okay, so anyone from the public that would like to speak up? Just a little bit confusing.
Are you only making budget recommendations as far as personnel, or are you making
For
recommendations?
right now,
as far
it's
as the other?
personnel. Right now, it's just personnel because we don't have the thing, but we know we're short personnel. So
So,
that's a start. So maybe
so is somebody replacing Purcell?
No.
Is, okay, so his office.
Emily is the
So who is her boss now?
deputy chief east
Okay,
and then the chief.
so then that's why that money went to the 2 new officers, right, okay.
I'll just say as a member of the public, I like that plan. K-State study says that we're 18 short. Say we know that this is a problem, we can't ask for this overnight.
Right.
But we have a plan and we recommend working forward. I think us and the public can see that that is addressing a short-term need and looking at some of the long-term goals. And I think the city can understand, we're not trying to ask for 18 and get 9, we're trying to build to that.
Right.
And also allow the staff to gel and be educated and really maybe make some of those other recommendations. So we hire the right people. We don't just need 18 people that want a job. So I definitely applaud that plan. Thank you.
So Emily, do you have something to present? I know that you were asked to present if you needed another full-time kennel tech, that you had to present that to them to see if you needed to do that. Do you have all that so that you can back that up?
Yes, I do have the data to be able to back up the request for
That's
staff.
excellent.
And I asked if there was a formality. That's one of the reasons that I talked with Dante this morning, and there's really not, it's just that we need to make. We just vote to make a recommendation or are we done?
Okay. We've got a motion to,
And I will, well, actually, and I want to throw in there the to be determined on. With more information a little bit later on where
Okay,
we
so-
would recommend. working.
okay, hold on, let's get the motion right. You want to recommend 3 new animal control officers
Budget 27.
for budget for 27 and 3 additional ones in budget 28. And then what did you just say?
But the.
On the,
That on determining where the money will come from. We need more information before we can do that and probably not until after the March election or March vote.
okay. So you want to make a motion, let's just make a motion that
On the 3 and et cetera.
I think 3 and 3 and and forget what she said then, because we can always change it. In March, we can change what we're,
That's true.
look at.
But as far as, but I would like something in there because I don't want them to come back and say, we didn't put anything in there about where the money's going to come from. The money, it's gonna have to be determined because we need more information. And
Well,
probably.
we won't determine where the money comes from.
But we're supposed to, that's what I'm
supposed to
saying.
make a recommendation.
We are supposed to make a recommendation of where the money is going to come from, and it has to come out of the police department's budget. And we do need more information, and so I told him this morning that isn't probably what we would do, because we do need more.
Okay, Keely, can you put that together?
Are you confused?
She's.
My brain is broken.
Okay,
Okay, I'm making a recommendation that for the budget, they add 3 ACOs in 27.
Okay.
And 3 ACOs in 28 budget.
Okay,
But to determine where that money is to come from, we need more information, and so that is to be determined based on.
You're asking what pool of money can you draw
Exactly.
from? You need to know what pool it is.
Yes, so as far as where it's going to be coming from, we need it to be determined once we learn more information. Does that make sense?
yeah, that's kind of a weird motion now. And
Well, okay, I mean, that's what,
we can motion, but you say that it needs to come from the police department's budget, period. And that's what I would say, to come from the police department's budget.
as we were,
Well, just to come from the, would that clarify?
I mean, it would, I mean, to get your motion at least done tonight, and for me to send it off to Emily and to Deputy Chief East for your recommendation. Yes, I mean, that will suffice for this evening. However, you can come back in March and say, this is what we have found out based on the information provided through X, Y, and Z. That our next motion or recommendation or whatever would be that you pull it from, I don't know, security's budget
Okay.
or field budget, or, I mean, I'm not sure.
Okay.
But that, at least that way it can solidify what you're here to accomplish this evening. That I would just stop it on, that it needs to
Okay.
come from police department budget.
That's,
I still second it.
That's my recommendation
Okay.
to you, and however you wanna alter that in any way, shape, or form.
I think that's.
okay.
No more discussion from the board, more discussion from the board. You want to take a vote, all those in favor, raise your hands. Or we're just unanimous.
We're so agreeable tonight.
Great, next up is update on Second Light, math and homeless with pets.
Okay, last year when they first developed this, and started the MAC, phase 2 was supposed to include kennels for the homeless with pets. And I recently learned that has been totally taken out. However, I talked to Maggie Ballard yesterday. And because it's in her district, so while I was talking to her about something else, I brought it up, and she said, it's really kind of still on the table, but they don't have the funds now, so hopefully they will in the future add that, because, I mean, there's enough people that think it is important. And it's really just kind of to update where we're at, and I see, and with a couple of speakers.
Everyone wants to talk on this? Okay, now it's Donna.
Yeah.
Would you spell your last name, Donna?
Garcia.
Garcia, okay. Oh, okay, there's a Donna Garcia. And third name,
It's Castillo Garcia, but I was just gonna give you
okay, just Garcia, because I couldn't read it back, I got the Garcia, Donna Garcia.
Find my business cohort.
Brilliant, yeah, so,
My name is Dr. Donna Garcia. I run nonprofit called Grassroots Bridge Builders, and we are experts in outreach for homelessness services. We help with navigation and housing. Part of that is dealing with individuals who have pets. So we're kind of here to speak on recommendations from the field that this is an important item. It's an important barrier that's keeping people from housing. We heard from Ms. Emily. Thank you very much for your program that's allowing short-term sheltering for emergencies in weather coming up. This is something that our, community has not had. We haven't seen a whole lot of this and access right from unhoused on the street to, having some place where individuals can feel that their animals are safely being taken care of, that they're not gonna be hurt, that they're not going to be altered in ways that they don't want them to, and that they're gonna be safe in return to them. This would be a great project to pair with other services and community-based resources that we have for shots, chips, and everything else. That might be down the line. But, for now, grassroots, we have an option that we just given up, to get people, to shelters by removing this barrier. As an organization, we've done this on our own. We've seen that it's very successful. We had a woman who was stuck out on the street for a month with many comorbid, conditions and also nurse practitioner. So, she was in a bad way. We were able to give her a foster, and from there, she was able to access services because at the time, it was the first rollout of the MAP. And she just could not get in, and she could not leave her animal on the street. Through that, we were able to navigate her through ER services, keep the dog, and then get her back to Colorado, where she lived. So yay, happy ending. So we know that these things work and we invest in them. I would definitely recommend talking to all of your council members that this is an important thing, and if and when you do get funding, and you're struggling at Second Life to get funding, we have people who are interested in animals, lots of rescue people here who can stand up with us and provide sort of an infrastructure on what this can look like in the long term. If you have any questions about what the animals coming into the shelter are gonna look like, what barriers we might be facing, I would be very happy to stand for questions for what this environment is.
I think you spoke at District 1.
I am actually not a Richardson, I am a Mays person, but we house individuals in every district. So we work in Wichita everywhere, so, but yes, we did speak recently. At District 1.
Cause I mean, you work with the encampments a lot.
We do, our precinct right now is Chapin, and it's one of the largest, most little served, encampments in town. And our goal is to have peers and community helping itself, so we're healing from within. So we actually have, where the hot team may not have access to individuals and get them into shelter, we do. And we have lots of animals. And I tell you that animals are doing much better than the people. So we want to keep that going, and we have this unique ability to build trust in ways that other organizations haven't been able to achieve yet, that we are changing that. And we would love to be able to go back this week. We're actually going back tomorrow to get them ready for the Penny Time Camp that's coming up next week. To get them prepared, and if we can, come back with this good news that, hey, it's gonna be cold this weekend, we have this option, give us a call. So we have someplace to take your animals. That's gonna be a great first step. Pilot it, show the city that it works, and then move forward.
And you are working with Emily on that.
We just met.
So I was gonna say, can you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's-
I know that the PD will take, the PD or the hot team, they will take the person to the shelter and animal to your shelter. But if if they have more access, can they?
No, yeah, we partner with anybody that's working with. us.
Okay.
Yeah, and we work with the hot team, so they have our direct contact information, so, we're down there a lot more than the hot team is. These individuals, they don't get any kind of access to services, and we have a 35-foot mobile unit that we go down every week. So we don't want policy, so, we don't mind helping with transportation and getting people back and forth. We've even piloted where we have the dogs sheltered if we have like a foster or an option, and then we come back and get them after the person is done at the night. So we do a lot of moving parts to get animals taken care of and their people.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
It was needed.
Yes,
Very
yeah,
good, very good.
big need and very successful. Any other questions?
Your organization name, one more thing, grassroots.
Grassroots Bridge Builders. I'm Donna, and I run it with Sarah, who is a person with lived experience, so we're the only one in Kansas that's made 4 homeless people 5 years. That's not good stuff.
Mushrooms.
Grassroots Bridge Builders. Build bridges, ICT.
Thank you so much.
There used to be an organization called Central County Animal Response Team. And they had a lot of equipment gathered. I don't know if they're still active, or that if you were to get in touch with them, you might be able to get rates or whatever
they might have to have, I'll do it.
Thank you so much. And we're always looking for volunteers, so if anyone feels so moved, we're all money. Thank you so much for coming.
Any, this,
Did you want to?
yeah,
First of all, I want to apologize. I took medicine in my eye did, and I had a reaction to it, and so I get told to my eye didn't feel. So it was like, my name's Sarah, I'm the other half of the I just,
and I'm just gonna get your name for comment.
Sarah,
Sarah, and how do you spell your last name?
COWLING,
COWLING. Okay, Kelly, okay. And it's with an H or an A?
oh wait.
Okay.
And that's what I talked to her, we were talking about, we were at the meeting. I'm coming from down there, it's Kid City, and I don't know, if you guys know how many animals are down there. And there's quite a few, and then they started talking about the second night, they were talking about putting kennels in there, because a lot of people, when they have nowhere to go, can't even want to put there, and nobody wants to do that. If our animals can't stay with us, they want to go for them. One thing I wanted to talk to you about here is, I don't always. Yeah, she gets it off the line, I call her, but I have some questions on some things like on the services for the people down there. I'm sorry, I think that. I really think that animals are better paying people than other people. And down there, I see lots there, and I don't do so well talking out here, but I want, like, with your guys' board, I want to help some people that are out there as we're progressing, as we do a master program, then be more, participate more in things like for the people that are, like, they have the dogs out there and you become part of the system, and then the requirements for that. And, I really don't very, but I just came to, like, I did, you get a list of, like, every day I had 3,000 dogs and some of the services that they have here at Chip program. I have a friend that she has a mobile too, and I know that's, the price, the cost is her rate.
Well, I think what you guys are gonna be doing, Emily, will also help, and maybe you can, do some sort of reach out, you guys can work with getting some of these people's dogs to them when you have your recommendation.
Yeah.
And so you.
I, that's another quick question, a lot that everybody do, just as far as the dogs, when they're taken, like the pickup, and they're taken to the, how do they, like, if they're trying to find their ambulance, how do they, like,
Again, I'm gonna. Emily, okay? I'm gonna send that to Emily, because she's gonna help you. Okay, the last, thank you very much. The last thing is an update on the KDA and AFI regs, problems that we're having. There is an important bill that's coming up, guys, that we need to sort of discuss and do something about. It's Senate Bill 344. It's talking about neonates, stray hold, and is, you know, part of the reason that we have a lot of mercy is neonates coming to the clinic.
What's that number again? Sorry.
Oh, and this is Senate Bill SB 344. It's actually going to be heard this Tuesday, the 27th at 8:30 a.m. in the Senate Ag meeting. And what they're trying to get changed is allowing for these neonates to come into a shelter to be fostered or moved so they can be out of the shelter, okay? And this will clarify some of the situations where puppies come in or kittens come in and they can't stay 3 days. Okay, so then they will leave it for 3 days. So if the dogs are in a foster or kids are in a foster, either or puppies, and they come in and they register them with the Wichita Animal Shelter. And then they put pictures on the lost and found board. Never has any of these animals ever been reclaimed by anyone, but we have to do that. And it's being pushed by the Kansas Pet Animal, actually the Kansas Pet Advocates, and also Humane World. And so I would encourage people to just call the Senate Ag Committee, and she was going to email me some information on that, but you can just contact the Senate Ag Committee and they have time to present, it's not, I don't think you're gonna have time to present any testimony, but you can certainly, every phone call. In fact, everybody out there, every phone call that they get will be recorded and sent to the.
So we're being encouraged for the past.
Yes, we encourage them to pass Senate Bill 344. It's a good bill. Then there's another bill coming up, Senate Bill 130. Senate Bill 130, and that is actually a KDA bill. Which we are pleased that they're doing this, and the two major things that they're doing on that is, they're going to, make licensed USDA kennels, or breeding kennels, then be able to show their veterinary records to the Kansas Department to AFI. Right now, they're exempt. If you're a USDA kennel, you do not, you can say, oh, yeah, this dog got a broken leg, but it's been seen by the vet. And so now, if this passes, they'll be able to say, well, let's see what the vet reports are. And because right now they're skipping it. Plus, it also asks for continuous water instead of just water every 12 hours. And so that's something that the KDA has done that we all approve. So we want to make sure now, we don't have a time for that to show up. Okay, that's just the beginning of the situation. And we can keep track, or other people can keep track of that if they know how to keep track of the bill situation.
So that's not being discussed.
Well, it doesn't have a time frame. We know what the time frame is here, when they got that explained fast, so that's good sometimes. But maybe,
What was the bill number again?
it's Senate Bill 130.
Oh, 130.
And then, you're gonna love this. You're gonna love this. House Bill 2297, House Bill 2297. There is a person on the Ag Committee who has a pet raccoon. And you can't have a pet raccoon. And so he has introduced this bill to make sure that raccoons can become pets. And eventually maybe be sold as pets. And no one, well, they're not, they don't make good pets, it's not good. And so, the KPA, Kansas Pet Advocates and Humane World and other people, if that's carried a little too far, so that does not have a date yet to be heard. But it would be nice if people were to say, whether you like it or not, if you're in favor of it, or you're not, if you research how bad it is for a raccoon for your pet when it matures and becomes 30 pounds and goes to maturity, it's not fair to the world. Okay, and in this maybe if that bill was passed, then people could take raccoons and sell them as a baby to a very unsuspecting owner. Okay, and we don't need to.
Well, they can find baby raccoons and just sell them.
Yes, they could do that. They could also do that. Yes. So that's a bill that is not good as well. I feel as.
Sorry, I can't promote any type of legislation or anything like that, but I do want to talk about, the neonate situation.
Okay.
Just because it's a good point of public education that, around 3 to 5% of our cat euthanasia this last year was due to neonate. That were required by the Kansas state regulation for them to be on display in the shelter. And they require feeding every couple of hours. They don't have the staff and they will provide that to them care. So something like that, changing that regulation where they could be, with this is something they can care for them, could drastically impact the number of fish flies we take. Our intakes are, it's in the several hundreds of those during the summer. So not to say that there would necessarily be foster and rescues for all of them, but it would make a drastic impact. On the request, you could say, we saw a huge shift in that, in our percentage of euthanasias and that information, right?
It would make a difference. So I encourage people, I know everybody out here, I think will understand that is something very important. We wish that there was more that we could get done and, for the state, but right now we've got these 3 things. We don't want, we don't have the money, and there is one, it hasn't gotten, I think this one has got a number, I don't think Senate Bill through, but with 131, it's always been addressed a number, and I don't think either the raccoon has. But there is one that doesn't have, even as statutes as a bill yet, and that is on TNR, making it, not, making TNR not fall within the purview of adding, if you do a TNR and return it, and there's ifs and ands about whether that's good or not, but it's something that we'll be, that's not yet to be. And this is gonna be a short session, so, these things, as much as we can get to help the shelter, which is a near needs, and I wish that we could help the shelter on a few other things, it would be great. And the KP, the cancer staff, that she came and talked to us at one time, and they're doing a good job, trying to get up there. With them. It's not easy. So that's all I have on an update on KFDA, KDA. I was combining KDA and AFR. I thought I said KFDA. Anyhow, are there any things that people want to talk about for, your district to come up that we haven't discussed? Any?
So, I was on the dangerous dog, board or subcommittee. And I was going door to door getting some people some cheaper trash rate in my 3 neighborhoods. And I went up to this one house and they had one of the original, it was the size of the dangerous dog was this big. And I was pretty friendly with Chief Ramsey. He married my wife and I. So I said, Chief, come on, by the time you get up there, you're already attacked by this dangerous dog. It's so small. So they went right, it wasn't long, but I found one of the originals that had the little one that's still there. But if you're looking for where to find some money, right now there are 38 openings to fix our roads. You know how you have everyone complains about that? They can't hire anyone. They can't get anyone. So there's 38 openings that are paid openings that if that money's going somewhere, and then 25 also tree trimmers. They can't find tree trimmers or in the forestry department. So there's some more money you can find. So there's the money's at.
That's not what the police department, but.
Bring it over.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Okay. Okay, well, is there a motion to?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
To adjourn, second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you.
Okay.